What's like an Albanian joke? Why don't you tell me the joke and then I'll say it? We'll act like I made it.
I don't know. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Huddle Up. And today we're here at Solana Crossroads. It's day one in Istanbul, and we have a very special guest, someone who is a stand-up comedian by day and a crypto DJ by night. Well, we have Bangerz here with us in the studio, and Bangerz, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, guys. Yeah, me. Okay, stand-up comedian. That is the title that I will be earning tomorrow when I do the roast of Solana at Crossroads. So we'll see if I can actually call myself that. But yeah, I'm a builder on Solana, content creator on Solana, and overall just like a Solana maxi. So that's why I'm here.
Before we start and talk more in detail about the content that you make and all that, and how it is like to be an influencer, I wanted to know, like, what were you doing before you started, and how was the transition? Like, was everything, all the DJ stuff that you see on Twitter, was it very sudden to you, or like, how do you define it?
Yeah, totally. I got into crypto like probably almost 3 years ago now. And I think like my entry my entry into crypto, like I've sort of had like a kind of a weird career path because I am an entrepreneur. So I studied chemical engineering, but I sort of realized I did not really want to go into that field. So then I went off on my own kind of as a content creator and I built an audience on Instagram as an artist. So I built an audience of over like 200,000 on Instagram, and that's kind of what ended up getting me into crypto, was like through my art and through like the NFT bull cycle, where people were just like, you have to make NFTs, all of this. All NFTs were selling for like the price of houses, and it was this frenzy. So then I started to dip my toes into it, and I started on Ethereum, which was super gross. Uh, I just like I didn't get it, and like crypto obviously is something like very complex,
Yeah.
to even grasp and understand as a new user. But Ethereum, I was like, why do I have to pay money to put this here on this website, and why do I have to pay money to remove it, like to burn it, right? It's so confusing to me. So I sold one NFT, and then I just stopped. Realistically, I really wanted to focus on what I was doing in Web 2, growing my platform. I had an e-commerce brand that I wanted to scale, and I had previously had shiny object syndrome as an entrepreneur, so I really just didn't want to try something new that I thought was kind of weird and wonky. But then my follower, who turned into a friend, started DMing me about like Solana NFTs, and DM'd me this one mint that was Thug Monkeys. I don't know if you're familiar. The tagline was "Don't mint," and I was like, "Don't tell me what to do." So I figured it out. I got Solana. I minted 2 stupid monkey NFTs, and that was like a whole crazy. Like if you're familiar with the lore, the founding team was like really really stupid, and basically like the community took over right away. Like they made a new Discord, and it was like this just like crazy 24-hour 48-hour experience. Like my first onboarding, it was like so incredibly chaotic, and I just had so much fun like being part of an online community. And I had like been building my own community on Instagram, but it was really nothing like this was just so much more fast paced. There's so many more people. It was really fun. And so yeah, that's really how I fell into Web3 and like degenning. It was like through art and NFTs, and I eventually went on to create my own NFTs. But I really, something about the Solana culture I think really resonated with me, and I just started to have fun like collecting NFTs, right, and being part of the community.
Perfect. So yeah, now let's move just a little bit towards your content. Do you think that your content, because personally I like it, is funny and it's interesting, do you think that that content is actually helping normies being onboarded to crypto? Because, for example, if you show a normie something about tokenization and it's like this in detailed document, PDF, whatever, they're gonna quit halfway through it, or not even halfway. The first page, and they're like, okay, I don't have time for this. It's too much.
Yeah.
I missed my train. But do you think that the way you approach this whole situation on onboarding is actually helpful? Because personally, I like it.
I mean, I think it's really hard to say, because like I have like two experiences, right, with like growing an audience online. One is like Web 2, obviously with Instagram, and then with Twitter, which is like primarily Web 3. And I don't really see there like being like a lot of overlap. Like in my early days when I was transitioning like out of doing Instagram full time and into doing crypto full time, I I tried to onboard people and I tried to like share the word because like I was so obsessed with it and I was like, oh my God, this whole new world, it's so new, all of this. And I really resonated like immediately with like I think the ideology and the ethos behind crypto. And I wanted to like bring that to people. But what I got in return was scam, 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 this is stupid, right? That was sort of the verbatim that was like thrown back at me. And so like I did try to onboard. I would talk about NFT mints sometimes. I know I did onboard some people. There's still this one guy that is like, I minted Stoned Ape Crew because of you. And I made all this money. I was like, incredible. But I also onboarded somebody who got drained, got their wallet drained because I didn't tell them about like really every day about the security, like how important it is. Like they minted on a fake Magic Eden site, right? So I tried at first and then I sort of realized that it was much more complicated than, that I think it's not just like, hey, go do this, do that. There's so much that you kind of really do need to handhold people through it. So I really think the best onboarding experience is having like one person that you can ask questions and can sort of hold your hand through it. Because it's not just like a day thing. It's like it's very nuanced. There's layers of culture to it. And so yeah, like I would say like my content now is very tailored to like a crypto native audience. So I'm not sure if it is onboarding.
Well, when I think of influencers, especially on X or Twitter, uh, sometimes I feel like it's oversaturated with influencers that don't necessarily bring value to the community because they just buy, for example, ready-made accounts and then like they try to shill tokens. Like even a broken clock is right twice a day, and they get one coin right and like they milk as much as they can out of their community. So my question to you would be how difficult it is, to stand out, because I saw you yesterday and I said you're the lady that threw the ledger in the water. You make content that can resonate to a lot of people, and we like that. And to me, like that makes you stand out, that type of content. But at the same time, I feel like you have it very difficult trying to balance, because you have to be cautious that people don't get the wrong advice. That's why a lot of people say like there's not a financial advice and all that. I see a Twitter account that has, let's say, a lot of followers, and I'm like, let me see what this guy's shilling, and they shill scams, for example, and it's very difficult for normies who don't know all the technical jargon and all the technical aspects of crypto to be on board, and they get like cold feet immediately. So how difficult it is to make content that resonates with people, but at the same time stand out from this space that is getting oversaturated, in my opinion. Was
Yeah.
that a very long question?
Yeah, no, I I hear what you're saying. I think it's all about providing value to people, and I think like those accounts, right? Maybe their audience is like meme coin traders. And so people do log on to Twitter every day and try to figure out what to buy. So like that does like serve a need, even though it's like kind of convoluted and obviously there's paid shells and all of that we won't get into. But yeah, for my content, I really focus on I think it's like very iterative, right? Creating content. So it's like what works, how can you do that again, but better, maybe in a different way, put a spin on it. Um, and I really kind of shape my content, I think, around like what people like. Like, I didn't really think that I would be making videos online. Like, that was like, I went from just posting my art on Instagram, and that was kind of like my main way of like sharing, right? And communicating with the internet to like being behind the camera, which at first, when I was starting to do that, I thought it was something so weird, but it was the thing that resonated the most with the audience. So I kept doing it.
So we've been mentioning Solana throughout the episode, but do you think you could have pulled this off in Ethereum? Without the tech side, I mean the community.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm really not like super familiar with like the Ethereum community. I think Ethereum and Solana kind of merged, and I think like a lot of like key people on Ethereum did come to Solana, I would say. So yeah, I'm not sure really. I think that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, like today I met two guys, builders on Ethereum, but now they're looking to basically transition and build on Solana. And when
Yeah.
you ask them about it, it's mainly because of the fees and the whole UI UX problem. Because
Totally.
Solana is way better in that aspect. So I have a really yes or no question right now.
Okay.
Did you tokenize the baby you were talking about like 5 days ago?
No,
Yet? Okay.
not
Okay,
yet.
fair, fair.
No.
So, what do you think about tokenization in Solana? This is a more technical one because we were talking about community influencers and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's brought a lot of eyes to Solana, which is great, right? I think Pump Fund is like the breakout app of crypto, like period. And so that's really what people see when they see Solana. And I think it's something that does like attract a lot of builders, which is a really net positive for the ecosystem, right? Seeing that Pump Fund has made over $500 million, right, means that there's tremendous opportunity on Solana. And like that's really what you need, like, is that kind of flywheel. Right, like you need users, and the builders don't want to build for no users, right? So like a foundation, a blockchain foundation can only fund like startups on their chain for so long. If you don't have like the liquidity and the users, then there's really no point. So I think like the tokenize everything sort of the narrative, right? I mean, this whole thing with like base and like coining, it's really like admirable what they're doing because it is sort of like a controversial campaign, and controversy, you know, we've seen this thing I use in my content all the time, right? Is something that really propagates online. But yeah, I mean, it's happening on Solana, right? So overall, I think it's like a net positive if people want to be part of the casino. That's like their conscious choice, and we can't really speak for, right? If they're choosing to lose their money, they're choosing to get scammed. They're also choosing to maybe make money, right? So it's their choice. Yeah.
But it's also like, I think one of the reasons why Solana like outperformed so many altcoins on so many different metrics is because it's much more user friendly. I mean, you have, for example, a platform such as Pump.fund that it's super easy to use and you can just launch a token in just a few clicks. Whereas in, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago, you would have to pay a good developer who knows the programming language and all that just to have like an average coin, for example. And but at the same time, this simple UX has brought maybe not bad actors, but it's making it easier, kind of overflood the market, because personally I find it very hard to find a good conviction buy in these days, because the narrative changes so quickly, because there's so many new launches and money may be flowing in, but it's being dispersed across all these millions of tokens. Because I remember like 4 years ago the whole market had like only 10,000 tokens, whereas today you get that in 1 hour, I think, something like that. So speaking of Pump.fun, I would have to ask you, like, what's like some of your favorite memes maybe that you've seen people utilize narratives and on crypto Twitter? Personally, I liked Michi. Yeah, that was like my conviction buy. It's not doing that well maybe at the moment, but what about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Bonk is like the Solana savior. I think memes are great, but I think just buying Bitcoin, you'll probably outperform the majority of people trading memes. I think people don't have enough Bitcoin. Like you don't have enough Bitcoin. No one watching this has enough Bitcoin. No one here has enough Bitcoin. So really, that's kind of like my sort of play. Like if I'm gonna buy a meme, like it's like a gamble. And sure, it's fun, and I'm probably going to forget about it. So I'm probably just going to be somebody else's exit liquidity, realistically. But yeah, I just think buying Bitcoin. You should buy Bitcoin.
Well,
It's expensive right now.
we heard it from the exit liquidity guys. We would have to wrap it up because we're short on time, and just a reminder that we have Bangerz speaking as the closing speaker tomorrow. And you don't want to miss all her funny jokes roasting Solana. Do you have like a roast to make to us?
Please do.
Oh my god, this is putting me on the spot. What's like an Albanian joke? Why don't you tell me the joke and then I'll say it. We'll act like I made it. Okay. What's the difference between an Albanian and a goat?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know. They both goats.
Okay. I feel roasted.
That was terrible.
I love Ethereum. No more Solana for me. This is too much Solana for me. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and thank you, Bangerz, for the joke specifically. Thank you, Dren, and we hope you have a good day.